of people, when they adopt a dog, they think about going to Battersea or to a local animal sanctuary, but has anybody ever thought about adopting a guide dog? Well, this is Yang, and this is her story.
Hello, I'm Kath McGuire, and this is Yang, our ex-guide dog. We had Yang as a puppy. We were puppy walkers in the early 2000s. We would train her for 15 months, and then she went away to be trained properly. To become a puppy walker, you have to apply for guide dogs for the blind. The main place is around here is Bolton. We put an application in, and they came and had a look. And they had a look at our house, and we said it was all right. It didn't take very long with the process before we actually got a puppy. It depends when the puppies are available. You each assigned a coordinator, and they come to visit you regular and see how the dog's doing. And in that time, we have to learn to take the dog on buses, on trains, in shops, supermarkets, in telephone boxes. My husband did all that. He worked really hard, and Yang would do nothing for him. But if she was in the garden and wouldn't come in, I only had to go out and say, "Come in," and she'd come in. She took more notice of me than my husband, and yet he did everything for her. But Yang came to us. She was a tiny little black puppy, full of mischief, because she taught all the others how to escape, and she was the only one that was too small to climb out. We had her for 15 months, and then she had to go back to the guide centre in Bolton, where she then undertook a serious training. When we had to part with her, it was very hard, because she was such a lovely, lovable dog and a mischievous dog. I mean, many times we'd come in and the garden would be the floor would be littered with bits of paper that she'd screwed up during the time we'd been out. It was very hard to get rid of her, but the problem was we knew she was going to do a worthwhile job. And we knew that when we got her, so we didn't think we'd ever have her back. So we've been extremely lucky to get her back. There's no contact with her once she'd gone, because when we went to watch her at Bolton, we played with her in the park, and then they just put the lead on her, and she just walked in and never looked back, and that was the hardest part, thinking we'd never see her again. She went away, and we was convinced that we would get her back, that she wouldn't pass, because she was just daft. But she passed, and a few months, about 6 weeks, 7 weeks after she passed, they invited us back to Bolton to see her working. And we were so amazed when she came out, and they asked us to walk behind them round Bolton. We stayed well out of scent level, and we followed her all round Bolton, and we thought they'd knocked all the stuffing out of her, because her tail was down and she was looking and guiding, and there's a lad with a ball on the wall, and we thought, oh, she'll go for that, but she didn't. We didn't train with balls at all, because you don't with guide dogs, but this lad was with the ball, and she just looked at him and walked on. A bit farther there was a lamp post, and she came to this lamp post, and there was someone coming the other way, so she pushed the guide, the person who was with her, the guide person with her, away to make room to let the man go in. It was just incredible watching her working. Then she came to a thing they'd set up near the home where she was, like you see, like a maiden round a square, like you see in the roads, and they put it there purposely to make sure that she couldn't get through it. And she pushed the lady gently onto the road, but looked before she put her in. Even now, after all these years, if you cross the road with her, she goes right across. She doesn't go diagonal. She goes straight across, and halfway across, she looks both ways. And so there's a lot of her training still in her. We got back to Bolton Centre, and they said, we'll just take her. This lady said, I'll just take her for a wee and a drink, and then we'll bring her out, and then you can go into the park with her that they had. And she came out, and she came out the daftest dog that we'd had a few months later. Just incredible. She was full of fun, full of bounce, and she was flying between me and Peter. Whether she recognised us, I don't know. But she trained then she trained, and then she went to a man somewhere in Manchester. And she was with this old man, and they said to us that she's a lovely dog, but she's a gentle dog, but she doesn't like doing a lot of walking. So he used to go to Asda, walk to Asda, but catch the bus back, or he'd go to the doctor's and get a taxi back. So she only won't walk. She only half trained really. She was half. Then I don't know. We don't know what happened properly to the dad, to the man. He was an old man, and we think he died. And she'd guided then for 5.5 years, and she was too old then to retrain with someone else. So one day we got a phone call, and I answered the phone call, and they said, "This is Guide Dogs for the Blind." So they said, "We've got Yang here, do you want her back?" And I said, "Oh, you better have a word with my husband." So I handed the phone to Pete, and he were absolutely over me. Yeah, we'll have that, but it's going to cost you. And it cost us £1 to have her back. And we've had her back now since, we've had her back 5 years, I think, now. And she's just coming up to 13. She's as daft as ever. She's a different dog than we've ever had before. She does her own thing. We'll go out, if we go out at night and leave her, we'll come in and she'll just lie there. Doesn't run to the door to greet you. She'll just lie there, and then eventually she'll slink in and come up to you. If anybody else comes, she'll grab anything. A shoe, a garden shoe, a toy, anything she can grab to welcome them. But she never welcomes me and my husband back. But I think, she's had a good life. She can, she does do as she's told. She's very obedient. She'll lie down and do things like that, which lots of dogs do. But as far as guiding, like I said, she'll guide, and she watches for traffic. She'll push people. We went to Morecambe a few weeks back, and walking down the promenade, that she likes to be near the edge, near the wall. And she was walking along the wall, and there were two dustbins and lamps and things like that, and she just moves you around. You don't feel it. She just pushes against you and moves you around. So she still has that in her. I don't think she recognised us when we had her back. But she soon got used to us, and she was grossly overweight when we got her back, because the man used to give her bacon and egg for a breakfast every morning. And then he went into a home temporary, and all the neighbours were feeding her, and she was something like just short of 40 kilos or whatever, 40 whatever it was, and they wanted down to 30, and we've had to struggle to get her back. She went there first, and they got her down a bit to about 36, and then we've had to struggle to get her down. But she's fine now, and she's quite healthy. She's quite agile for her age, because she's nearly 13. When we had her as a puppy, we took her for lessons to a place in the next village, Bolton, down the road, and she used to get so excited when we got there that I couldn't hold her. Peter had difficulty holding her to get her to go in, and we used to get in, and it was a hard floor, and all these dogs were all sat there doing as they were told, and she used to get in. It were like a pair of skittles. She knocked all the dogs flying. She skidded all over the floor, and the person in charge says, "Oh, let silly Yang in." She would train. She would do what she was told. She'd sit. She'd walk through the gate. She'd do this, and then after half an hour she was fed up, and we used to take cheese, chicken, anything to try and get her going, but no, she sat down, and that was enough. And this is the same thing as walking to the shop and coming back on the bus. One thing that Yang does to save us a lot of leg room, we put 2 pegs in the double glazing at the bottom, and she lets herself out into the garden, and she'll have a wander around, not necessarily doing something, but she'll have a wander around, have a look what's going on, and then coming back she uses a paw to open the door and come in, so it saves us getting up out of the chair. To adopt a retired dog, there's got to be the dogs available, because they've got to have failed, or they're retiring. Quite often you can get a retired one, but then quite often the puppy walkers get first chance. That's how we managed to get Yang back. We would both like to take on another puppy dog and do it again. The only problem is we're both getting older. My husband's just turned 18. I'm following him. The only problem is that we'd have to start, sort of sectioning the garden off again. I think we're just getting a bit too old to do it now. So I would recommend it. We have a friend who's just got one. In fact, they've had it a few months, and through us having Yang, and they looked after her once when we went away. They were so taken up with her that they decided to have a retired one.
I have to say that I have the utmost respect for these dogs, and when you see them working, I just stand and watch them in awe. They must make a massive difference to the blind people that they work with. So if you're interested in adopting a retired guide dog, contact your nearest Guide Dog for the Blind Centre. See you next time.